Hey everyone, CPO here, and in this video I'm going to sort of finish where I left off in the last video, and that's with the 1UP-USA bike rack. Hold on, let me get the other box. In that last video, I promised you I'd explain how to get two bikes onto the system, why I selected the single bike version instead of a double if I want to carry two bikes. The other thing I want to do in this video is talk a little bit about what you need to look for to know if you need the reverse side plates option or not. Because I talked a lot about my specific situation, which definitely required it, but how do you know if you're going to require it? So I'm going to hit on that for you. Oh, the other thing I want to do is clean up something from the last video, because remember, the reverse side plates option comes disassembled because it doesn't fit in the box once it's assembled. But I did figure out how to get it in the box. All right, so really how this works is, of course, remember, we can fold this and collapse it. The way I collapsed it is by putting it in the position that is in the tilt back position. So maybe this will make more sense if I slip it on here. So the tipped back position as opposed to the ride position. Once you tip it back, you've actually got enough clearance to fold it up. Which is how I did it. So I pulled it off, folded it up, hand must leave that space, and now it drops right in the box. So, small bonus for those of you that want to store it in the box when you're not using it. So let me show you a couple things here. First of all, I store it with this lock just like that, just to keep it all together. You know, I don't necessarily always need the lock. There's plenty of room for it there, but I just do that for storage. And one tip I have here is I attach the key to the lock to the security wrench using a couple of zip ties so that they're together. And then that way, when I need to install it or remove it, everything I need is right here. So let me go ahead and tighten this guy down again. If you sort of wiggle it as you tighten it, that'll help. Put this in a locked up position. And then, since I am taking this actually someplace where it's going to be left unattended for a while, I'm going to go ahead and put on the lock by just moving this to the hole in the hitch. And this Allen key now basically is like a keychain, which can get in the way, but not necessarily too bad. All right, so let's say I do want to carry another bike with me. Maybe my son wants to go for a ride. That's where this guy comes in. This is the add-on for the rack system, and it allows me to add an additional bike to the system. And I open it up exactly the same way. And then it's going to attach to the back of this. So I already have these bolts pre-installed. They come with the add-on, and it's the same security hex that you use for the hitch. And what I'm doing is just opening them out, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches or so. And the way this works is these are slotted. So I'm going to slip it over that, slip it over, lock it into place. And then these guys are going to tighten down. And the way it's designed is it fits right inside. There's a little ledge there, or a lip that this will rest into as it tightens down. Really cool, a lot of thought went into that, the chamfering of that. But yeah, it's that easy to add on a second bike. All right, so there's what we're looking at now with 2 bikes. As you can see, it takes up not a lot more room than the single, and everything still functions the same, except you have to reach further down here to grab that bar. I do believe they make an extension for that you can bring up high, but it's not necessary. Oh, and oh good, my son's home, because we can use his Jeep to show you off how it works on different vehicles. Anyway, it does tuck up nicely, even with 2 bikes up against the spare tire, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna drop it down and we'll load up the bikes just to show you sort of how that works. It probably works just like you imagine it might. There's a little bit of an elevation change between the closest bike to the vehicle and the secondary bike. Now you can add, on this particular single, you can add 2 more add-ons. So you can have up to 3 bikes. If you start with a double, they have one that you can get, you can add 2 singles to it to get 4 bikes. So you got to really look at how many bikes you think you need. I'll never need more than 3 bikes. I say that now, but life always throws me a curveball. In reality, I primarily only want 1 bike because it's usually just me. It's very rare that my son, and so far never that my wife, want to go biking. So most of the time it's just me, which is why I went with the single, because I don't need this extra stuff always on. So having the single with the ability to quickly add on a double was sort of a no-brainer for me. Anyway, let's load some bikes. All right, so this is just the same as I showed you before. This is my bike. Just got to make sure the pedals get in a place that fits with the tire. And that bike is loaded. Easy. Now we'll put on this bike. This bike has some historical significance. This is my very first mountain bike purchase. I mean, real mountain bike. It was my first bike store bike purchase. I got this in the mid-90s, and it's a giant Rincon, sort of an old school chromoly, full rigid, and I just can't, I can't bear to get rid of it. So it stays in the garage, and I've abused it over the years, made some changes. Anyway, today we're going to load it on the Jeep. All right, so everything's exactly the same, except for I want to reverse the bike. So the second bike in is going to face a different direction. You can offset them so the seat doesn't hit the handlebars. You can do whatever you need to do because this is entirely adjustable. So just like that, you can see, once again, these are 26-inch tires compared to 29-inch tires. The rack works exactly the same. It's just going to come up higher. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The only thing you're going to have to worry about is making sure your pedals have the clearance as you sort of put it on. Just double check that. That's it. There you go. 2 bikes just like that. It really is a compact system for what you're getting. That's 2 bikes hanging off the back of the Jeep in a space oftentimes that would normally be consumed by just 1 bike. So I really think that that's cool. Now that my son's here though, I'm gonna take this setup and put it on his Jeep so you can see how the reverse side plates may or may not matter in his situation. So, same way to unload. I'm gonna undo one side. In this case, it's clamped down a little bit on the top of the tire, so I'm gonna relieve a little slack off of that just to take some pressure off. And then collapse this one down. And we'll pull this one off. Here's a pro tip for you. If you ever lean your bikes, which you probably do, lean them off the back wheel, not the front wheel. I think it took me a little while to learn that, but I always have a tendency to try and prop up the front wheel or the handlebars. It's actually much more stable if you lean the back wheel against something. All right, so I'm just going to unfortunately, to do this, I unlock the hitch. I'm going to set this aside because I'm not going to do that on his for the demonstration. All right, there we go. Moving this setup to CJ's Jeep. And I'm pulling it out a little bit to make some clearance for the spare tire because he doesn't have an adapter. So we'll see if that actually fits. Oh yeah, that does fit. And on his, because he doesn't have that exoskeleton of the external tire carrier, the bike can fit closer to the Jeep. Now let's go ahead and add a second bike, what the heck. Just like that. I mean, it's quick, it's easy, it's light, it's secure. Do we need the reverse side plates on his Jeep? Let's look at that. So first of all, can he even get into the tailgate with this setup? So let's take a look at that first. And he can. It's locked, but I can show you anyway. And you can see I've got some room there to open that tailgate up. Not all the way, but enough to be able to get in the back. So that's kind of cool. Go ahead and put this back. I'll just leave that hanging for now. Bikes to go back in the up position, just go until they click into place. And you can see how that looks. So these are 33-inch tires. on his Jeep. This is a 2004 TJ. And I think that's a really nice fit. All right, so let me pull the bikes off and let's explore whether or not he needs reverse side plates. This is the other thing you have to watch out, is just pedals and the bars. Easy to work around, but that's how snug the system is. Not a lot of extra room there. We know he can get into the Jeep with it dropped, and we know that he can get into the Jeep with it in the ride position. This is just like on my Jeep, but this is a pretty typical setup with a tire carrier that's mounted to the bumper on this swing out. And even then, just the tailgate height itself probably runs along the top of this, right? So you've got about that much clearance for the tailgate, but the tire carrier. So if you look at the fitment guide on the 1UP-USA website, it'll show you the fitment for this with the standard plates. Remember, these are reversed, they drop. So go watch my first video if you are totally confused by what I'm saying. Special order reverse side plates. If we did the standard side plates, it would have been a rise. And I looked at the fitment guide. On the website, it rises 4.2 inches on this Super Duty version. Right, so 4.2 inches, I don't think it's gonna clear. Well, let me get a measure. Square on here. Oh, this is at, I mean, probably 4 inches and an eighth. So yeah, I mean, if it clears, it's gonna be, I don't think it's gonna clear. All right, so in this case, CJ would also need the reversed plates to clear if he wants to be able to open the tailgate without question. The other cool thing you can see here is I'm not using an adapter for his. His is plugged straight into the bumper receiver. So that's pretty good to know that, yeah, you don't need an adapter for that or an extension. I'm pretty happy about that. Now, the dimensions on the quick version, and I always forget the names of these, so I'll put it on the screen. The dimensions for that, I think, are a little bit more generous. I think you maybe have like 5 inches. So if you want that, it's basically the 1 1/4 inch mount that has an adapter for the 2-inch receiver, holds less weight overall, not as robust, but will possibly work better without the reversed angle. So you got to do that math. Again, this is, I don't know, 4 1/8 for this particular bumper. This is a Smitty built XRC, I think. Boy, I don't remember, it's been a long time. And of course, to clear his tailgate is more than 7 inches. Now he has a body lift on this, so it's probably closer to 6 on a standard non-body lift Jeep. But if you have any type of external tire carrier, swing out carrier like this, you need to get real critical on your measurements to see if you need the reversed side plates, or just order them, just go for it and know that it's going to clear regardless. And if you've got a lifted vehicle, the clearance isn't going to be an issue either. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. It's really all I have for you. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.